Welcome back to the Shine Within podcast. I have a very special guest today, Dr. Shivani Gupta. She is a seasoned Ayurvedic practitioner with over 20 years of experience, blending Eastern and Western wellness practices to achieve body equilibrium. Holding a master's in Ayurvedic sciences and a PhD focused on turmeric, she specializes in combating inflammation, a common root cause of many health issues. Dr. Gupta is passionate about teaching natural at-home remedies to reduce inflammation, enhancing energy, clarity, and overall health. She is the founder of Fusionary Formulas, a company dedicated to helping individuals manage inflammation and pain through Ayurvedic. Let me say if I say this right. Is it Ayurvedic or Ayurvedic?
Ayurvedic.
Ayurvedic. Okay, solutions. You say it so much more beautifully than me. So I apologize in advance if I'm pronouncing it wrong. It's something new to me that I just discovered like within a year. So
Yeah, no, it's a new word in the lexicon of words that we use here in our culture. And that's my whole goal is to show everyone what Ayurveda means.
I love that. Now, would you actually mind sharing your journey in that and how it all began and what led you to focus on turmeric, which is one of my favorite. I have it here. I cook with it. I don't know if you can see it.
Very
But
cool.
I love this stuff. My husband's Indian actually, and we got married in 2020. And during that pause, I didn't know what to do. So I started learning how to make Indian food.
Nice.
Very hard, by the way,
It can
especially
be.
right? And especially because
Yeah.
I never cooked before in my life. So then I take the biggest challenge to go ahead and start making Indian food. I love it now. And this is one of the ingredients that I always use. So I'm excited to talk about what the benefits of this. I know inflammation, it helps reduce inflammation. I
Yeah.
had it on my sweet potato today. That's why it's right here.
Good job.
Yeah, but yes, go ahead and share your journey with us, please.
Sure. So I grew up in this immigrant family. My parents moved from India to the United States after they got married with nothing in their pocket but a dream to live the American dream. And what was cool was they built it, they were successful, and we started being able to go home to India every year to be with my cousins and my family. But every time we went back, someone had a catastrophic health issue. And I kept looking around and thinking, what's wrong with my family? Like, is this common? Is this normal that the whole last quarter of your life is spent doing diabetes management, disease management? My grandparents were having heart attacks, quadruple bypasses, Parkinson's, leg amputations, strokes. And I was like, oh God, this is all bad. What am I going to do to prevent this? Because if diabetes is genetic and part of everyone's life around here, it'll happen to my parents and it'll happen to me. And so my whole life became about what do you do to prevent disease? And I learned about the immune system. I learned about gut health. And eventually in college, I used to go to India and get so sick, but in college, I was super sick one time, and I remember this doctor prescribing medications to me. And I said to him, you know what? I need a different way. Like, this is not working for me. And I told him to dumb down the antibiotics a couple notches because I had been taking so many antibiotics, and I realized that was part of my problem. And I said, you haven't given me a probiotic. I really need to go figure this out. So I went on a quest to learn about Ayurveda through India. I told my parents, look, this system works. I need to go figure it out. Let's go learn from the gurus of Ayurveda in India. And once I learned the system and I understood it, I was like, wow, you've healed my gut, you've healed my health. This is the ultimate system of preventive health. If everyone lived like this, we wouldn't have diabetes and disease the way I've seen it devastate my family and me lose my grandparents. I just need to teach this to everyone. We need to learn this system. And so that's what led me to studying Ayurveda.
Well, that's beautiful. Yes, and diabetes, I lost a lot of family members as well on my father's side. With diabetes, they had complications. They fell, something was going on in the hospital, and then they wound up passing away. So thank you for all the work that you do. Now, with your expertise in Ayurveda, why do you emphasize treating inflammation, and how can listeners actually go ahead and benefit from managing it?
So, what most people don't realize is inflammation is this silent killer. It's this forest fire that's burning its way through our bodies. And until it gets really loud, we don't take the steps necessary to address it. We're like, oh, it's fine, it's fine. But as we age, 20s into our 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond, sometimes your body's giving you messages. And those messages are like aches and pains, you slow down. Certain foods or alcohols or drinks and different things can affect you differently than they did when you were younger. headaches, brain fog, all sorts of symptoms in the body. And we always think that those things are aging. They're not aging. It's inflammaging that's wreaking havoc and causing this forest fire level damage to the inside of your body. And the problem is we kick off inflammation usually in our 20s. So one of my mentors taught me, he's like, it's like you're flipping light switches on. And in your 20s, you might go through periods where in college, maybe you are not sleeping, pulling all-nighters. Maybe you're drinking too much because that's part of the culture. Maybe you're eating poorly. And that's just what you're into is eating total processed foods, fast foods, easy foods that aren't good for you. So you're kicking off and turning on these lights of inflammation, these light switches. You go into your 20s, you're like, oh, I'm fine. When you're in your 20s, you've got resiliency. Your body your body regenerates and repairs much faster. You move into your 30s, body's slowing down a little bit, you start to see the effects. 40s, 50s, and then later you get these diagnoses and you're like, where did that come from? It's like, well, you kicked off those light switches of inflammation. Did you ever turn them off? Did you ever turn inflammation off in the body? And so that's what got me so passionate about understanding Ayurvedic diet, Ayurvedic lifestyle, gut health, mind body constitution, which is your from Ayurveda, sleep and circadian rhythm, detoxification, which is a big part of Ayurveda. And so all those different pillars of health we bring together to show you a lifestyle that's so preventive. So every day when you wake up, you should wake up energized. You should be able to already know based on your constitution what your game plan is for how you eat throughout your day to stay fueled and stay healthy, and keep the energy that you want. And then how to invest in sleep so that you have the perfect sleep and wake up the next day rejuvenated. So a lot of those are the elements of what we teach in Ayurveda.
I love that. And the sleep is very important. I remember I was like, oh, I only need like 3 hours sleep. I'll be fine. Oh, no, it caught up to me. Now I get the rest that I'm supposed to be getting. And I do feel so much better when I sleep properly. I feel like my body's renewing because every day our body's different. And I feel like when I have proper sleep, I feel like so much better. It's like, oh, thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what are some simple at home remedies for inflammation you recommend? And what are their immediate effects, would you say?
Sure. So one thing I teach that's easy is ginger lemon tea. Every morning, you can take a cup of water, chop some ginger. If you don't have fresh ginger, you can use bagged tea ginger, but fresh is always best in Ayurveda. So I chop up the ginger, boil that, add a squeeze of lemon. If it's all too strong for me, I'll add a bit of honey as well. And that ginger lemon tea in the morning is the simplest, easiest way to kick off digestion, kick off your metabolism, support the gut lining and gut digestive fire, and reduce inflammation. So I love that habit. Another great one is aloe vera juice in the morning. That's also so gut protective and healing as well. So those are two of my favorites. I love when people use turmeric. What most people don't know about turmeric is only 3% of that turmeric plant is the curcuminoids. And so out of the three curcuminoids, curcumin is the most effective at reducing inflammation, and those other two curcuminoids must be given in the right proportion and at the right potency if you want a therapeutic dose in reducing inflammation. So a lot of people are using raw turmeric, which has its benefits, but in Ayurveda, we use it as like a garnish or as a radish. Like we don't really use a lot of fresh turmeric. We usually have it dried, so it's much more potent and concentrated. So when you're using dry spiced turmeric, in your kitchen, use it with black pepper or use it with a healthy fat. So you actually absorb it. We know black pepper increases the absorption 2000%. And then if you're going to take it for a therapeutic dose to significantly reduce inflammation, if you've got aches and pains or you want a true preventive plan, it's important to take it in supplement form. So a lot of people don't realize turmeric is a powerful anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, antiviral, antibacterial, antifungal. It's such a powerful tool in our toolkit for longevity, for anti-aging, hair, skin, and nails because it increases blood flow in the body. It helps support us when we want to kill off our zombie cells. So when we have cells in our body that are accumulating and won't just go away and die off, it helps with that process. So I love turmeric because I think it's just that all-in-one Swiss Army knife that kind of does everything for us. And as a mom, I need like efficient things that get the job done.
Yeah. Oh, now my mother-in-law puts it on her face too as a mask. It's
Yes.
really good for the skin.
Yes, it'll give you that glow. It's antibacterial, so it'll kill off anything that doesn't belong there. But yeah, topical turmeric has been used in India for centuries.
Wow. Now, let me ask you another question. This may seem silly, but I cook a lot with it, like I said, but then my nails are so yellow. What is the fastest way I can remove the stain from my nails?
I
Or
have
should I
the
just leave it
same
on?
I have the same problem. So with my kids, I like to feed them Indian food and they're still little. So sometimes I make the bites, but then all my nails turn yellow. And I would say after like a day or two, if it's nail polish, it'll just wash off it. It like wears off. But there's no great solution other than lots of soap because it is so staining. It's so potent, you know?
Oh, yeah, that means it's good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you actually share a story about a dramatic health transformation you've witnessed through Ayurveda?
Yeah, actually, I've done work with clients one-on-one for about 8, 10 years now. And then I've had a private group where I do like group coaching and stuff. And I had a lady, she's from North Carolina, and she came in, she had tremendous hip pain. And so I talked to her, she was already doing everything good. She was already eating an anti-inflammatory diet, doing self-care, going to chiropractic. She went to an orthopedic. She was doing so many treatments on it, cold laser, like whatever she could find that would help. And it gave her some relief, but it wasn't fixing the problem all the way. And I thought, gosh, this is like a long shot. Like, if you're already doing everything, how much can I help? And so she joined my program. She started taking my turmeric. So a lot of people who are in pain will take the formulation that I created and they'll take the turmeric and the inflammation relief that I made. And she took that and she did a big detox. I did this Ayurvedic detox for 21 days within my program. And so we cut inflammatory foods, added in ghee and Ayurvedic spices, added in a lot of self-care, which is very nourishing and kind of brings you back to wholeness and feeling whole and nourished. And she said she lost 18 pounds within that 3 months of working together, hip pain gone. And I was like, gosh, like I love when I hear results like that. I'm always like, what did I say to you that you got such a dramatic result? Someone recently told me they lost 30 pounds. I was like, guys, you need to say to me what I say to you so I can apply the same homework to myself because I don't understand how you're getting such phenomenal results. But that was a powerful story to me because a lot of times we're dealing with pain. That pain stops us from living our normal life, stops us from moving normally, then we cause new pains, and all of a sudden you're just outside of like your workout and your normal mobility, flexibility, and there's a cascade of events that comes from that. And so my goal is always like the minute something is hurting, let's nip it in the bud and get you back to healthy and vibrant so that you can shine and be your happiest.
I love that. Yes, because once they feel less pain, then they're able to go outdoors, do more activity. They just feel good overall. And when people feel good, they just do better in life.
Exactly.
I love that. Now, as the founder of Fusionary Formulas, how does your products actually help with inflammation and pain differently than like traditional methods?
Sure. So when I finished my PhD on turmeric, I was so excited about the benefits. I was like, this thing should be used by everyone. Anyone who has pain, anyone who has chronic joint pain, like anyone like me who always needed immune system help. Like this thing does it for everyone. And so I sat down with a factory and I said, listen, if we can make something phenomenal, great. And if we can't, I'm not doing this idea. So we sourced a curcumin out of India that was so potent. It was just reaching almost a 98% grade potency. And it was driving such a powerful result. And I thought, what if we could shift how Western medicine approaches pain? What if they give us everything they're going to give us? But in addition, I offered them a natural solution, and the patient could lean on the natural solution and come off those other ones faster and get less side effects because they're using something natural and not something unnatural. And so I was able to prove in that first year, 9 years ago, that we could be a chronic joint pain solution and help reduce opioid use and all those things out of orthopedics. So it's been a fun, wild ride. And it really comes down to quality, potency, how you make it. I make mine in the US. I get it third party certified. We check everything 18 times pre, middle, and post production. So I'm just obsessive about quality because I want to prove my point, which is Ayurveda is as effective as stuff we have here. And I know I can't tolerate the side effects. Like I've taken ibuprofen NSAIDs post having like plantar fasciitis or pain, and I couldn't take it for the full 7 days or 10 days that they wanted because I'd get stomach aches or I'd get other side effects. So I use it for pain. That's like one thing if I ever hurt something. But then I'm also a powerful believer in prevention. And if we just reduce that inflammation, then our whole body can heal and work properly and do what it needs to do. And so that's a big piece of what I teach is here's the Ayurvedic lifestyle. Here's some tools. Use the tools. Let's get that fire down. But then let's learn the lifestyle you need to hold to maintain that result.
Yeah, speaking about lifestyle, I actually went onto your website to take what's called a dosha quiz. Can you
Yes.
explain? Yeah, can you talk a little bit about what a dosha is and the different types?
Sure. So the doshas are a big concept out of Ayurveda. And what it means is your individual mind body constitution. And your dosha is decided at birth. And over time, things can happen, big traumas, big life changes that lead you to be super imbalanced in your dosha. So the doshas are made of the elements, they're driven by the traits of the elements. So you have air and ether, which is vata. So anyone who's vata is going to be thin and wiry. They're going to always be in motion, like air, like wind. Their mind, their body, they're going to be busybodies. This is someone who has a tendency towards anxiety, tendency towards disrupted sleep, tendency towards disrupted gut, IBS, and that kind of, yeah. They can eat like a bird. They don't have to eat 3 square meals a day. They can just nibble all day long. And sometimes they start a lot of projects, but they don't finish them. So they're looked at a little bit like a flake. But Vettas tend to be our artists. They're like the creative types who come up with all the cool ideas. Then you have Pitta. Pitta is fire, fire energy. So a Pitta person is a go-getter. They're ambitious. They're always doing and going. But their negative aspects are, and they tend to be medium-bodied, reddish hair, reddish skin tone, or early graying in their hairs, in their hair. And Pitta people tend to get hangry. They have to eat on time or they get really hangry. And you can define them by a lot of the words of a volcano. They erupt, they explode. They get angry and hangry on the people around them. So Pitta people need to self-manage carefully and kind of keep themselves cool, calm, and collected because they're so fire in their energy. And then you have Kapha. So Kapha people are earth energy with water. This is someone who's strong. They're bigger boned. They have rounder features, curly, oily hair. They tend to have a slower metabolism, sluggish metabolism. Tend to sleep like no one else sleeps. They can sleep 8, 10 hours and just keep sleeping late into the morning. This is someone who's very loving and kind. They do one thing at a time. They're the ultimate caretaker, very Mother Earth energy. And so each dosha has its imbalances and tendencies, and each dosha has its perfect antidote, its diet and lifestyle and circadian rhythm that it can adopt to stay more balanced. And oftentimes we're kind of thrown into these other doshas, like big dosha imbalances. And once we get ourselves back to our aligned self, we feel like ourselves. Like post kids, I was very kapha. Now I feel back to my original pitta self and I'm like, yes, I'm aligned. I've got this. But I also need to self-manage, especially seasonally, because let's say you're walking into a certain season that's more aggravating to your dosha, like Pitta people, summer is our dosha where our dosha can get aggravated. Then we have more homework just to stay balanced and cool, calm, and centered.
Yeah, I'm like kapha. I'm sorry if I
Yeah.
said
Yeah.
that. Yeah, that's what my result came out as. I was like,
Okay.
oh, nice. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. And so once you know that, you can shift your habits so that you're supported and you understand yourself.
Oh, that's great. Now, how have your roles as a mother and also an entrepreneur influenced your approach to wellness?
Oh my gosh, what a question. I think being a mother is like the biggest transformational experience of your whole life. Um,
Totally.
I like most women walked into pregnancy and I was like, this will be easy and my kids will just be awesome. And of course, we all get the reality check called, real life is different for each of us. But motherhood definitely changed my body and changed everything. It shifted me much more into being a guffa person. And so it took me a long time. I would say it took me at least 5, 6 years to balance back into my dosha. And now, as a pitta, I really use every tool in my Ayurvedic toolkit to stay balanced. Because to be a mother and an entrepreneur at the same time, is a little insane sometimes. Like you're dealing with juxtaposing interests. So I'm very much like I am organized, everyone's got a schedule, there's a team and there's a plan. And I once I have everything organized and set, I'm like, okay, we're going to survive within that container now. But I do a lot of self-care to stay cool, calm, collected, and happy. And then that excess of happiness and joy and vibrancy is what I share with everyone around me. And that was a big game changer because when I was a mom at first, it was all take care, give everything, be depleted, be exhausted, be empty. And even in my business, I was coming from that place. And now it's a totally different ball game because I do the Ayurvedic self-care rituals. I'm so much healthier. I'm so much clearer. And thus, all of life is much easier.
Yeah. Now, what are some of your favorite rituals?
So my absolute favorite ritual on the whole planet is called tea time is me time. I live by this one. So basically about 5, 6 times a day, I stop and I have a cup of tea and I just check in with myself. I take it as like a moment of pause. You can call it a meditation. It's not that long, but it's more like, Shivani, how are you? Have you taken care of yourself today? Are you going to take your vitamins? Have you hydrated? Have you scheduled today so you're going to survive this day and this week? And my intuition out with answers. My intuition will say, you know what? No, you need to cancel on that person. You can't do that this weekend. Do you realize what you're scheduling? And so my own intuition is now trained to give me all sorts of answers, remind me all sorts of things that I've forgotten as well. But it's just that moment where I tune into self that's very supportive. Another big ritual out of Ayurveda is tune in with nature, move in nature. So I make it a point every evening to go walk in nature, even if it's 10 minutes, 15, 20, whatever it is. We all need more steps, but nature is very healing to us.
Mhm.
Nature is going to cool you down, recenter you, let you release everything from the day. It's going to help you decompress, which is going to lead to better sleep. And so that's two of my favorite rituals that's most supportive to me. I'm a big fan of working out and eating healthy as well. And then there are these self-care rituals from Ayurveda called dinacharya. And within those self-care rituals, we teach things like tongue scraping and oil pulling in the morning. In the evenings, we do dry brushing and Abhyang massage. Yoga is a sister science to Ayurveda. So even incorporating yoga into your life is a powerful way to stay healthy, stay detoxed, and stay more vibrant.
Oh, I love that. Now, what was it? Oil pulling, did you say?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
what
So
is that?
tongue So there's tongue scraping and there's oil pulling. And what I love is these are habit stacks right on top of brushing your teeth. So in the morning, you brush your teeth, and then you take a copper tongue scraper. You gently scrape the tongue 7 to 14 times. Typically, our tongue has its own, I'm not going to show you my tongue, but typically our tongue has like a white film on it, which represents ama or toxins that are accumulating in the body due to poor digestion or multiple factors, just accumulation in this day and age. And so by gently scraping the tongue, you're igniting the digestive fire. You're clearing ama in all the organs of the body because we teach that just like in reflexology, all the organs of the body are reflected on the bottom of the feet. In the same way, in Ayurveda, they're all reflected on the tongue. So, easy way to detox yourself every day for free, just use your tongue scraper. Now, the second step to that is oil pulling. So you take any food grade oil. We love sesame oil the most in Ayurveda. It's antibacterial and has so many benefits. So untoasted organic sesame oil is what we reach for. But you can use any organic oil, olive oil, coconut oil, whatever you have in your house. And you take about 2 tablespoons. Put that in your mouth and you start to swish it around. You can keep it in your mouth for 5 to 20 minutes. Towards the end, I typically start moving it through my teeth, around the gums, make sure it collects everything. And then when you go to spit it out, make sure that you spit it out in the trash, not in your sink, toilet, or shower, because it'll clog the pipes of the house.
Mm.
But what it's going to do is it's going to collect all the toxins, all the things in your mouth that have accumulated. And we know that oral health is heart health. We also know that oral health is gut microbiome. The beginning of your gut microbiome starts in the mouth. So by clearing everything out of there, you're supporting your own gut health from more stuff going in that doesn't need to be there.
That's amazing. This is all new information that I'm just learning. So I'm like, thank you. Now, a quick question. Does the tongue scraper have to be copper or can it be a
Could be
different kind?
steel. Could be any metal. We prefer metal tongue scrapers. We like copper just because it's an antibacterial material. So it's
I
gonna
see.
like almost self-clean and stay cleaner. But you can also use a steel tongue scraper and then just wash it more.
And thanks for the tip, the pro tip of not spitting it in the sink. You don't
Yeah.
want clogged pipes in there, cost
Yeah.
money.
I don't want to ruin the whole world's pipes. That'll be not a good thing to be remembered for.
Yeah, this is something I'm going to start doing. I'm excited now. I'm like, hey, I learned something new. That's why I love guests like you. They share so much information and I'm like, yes. Now, what are some exciting developments in Ayurvedic medicine that you actually look forward to in the future?
You know, the biggest one I would say is happening in herbology. I was just in India meeting with suppliers, and botanicals out of Ayurveda, the super spices, super herbs, are now being studied at the same level as pharmaceuticals. So it's like you are studying Guruji and Boswellia, like we're studying them using the same rigors of scientific study to prove the benefits that we've known about for thousands of years. So that to me is really exciting, like the level of science behind botanicals and we're doing clinical trials on our ingredients, so we have the proof as well that like, hey, for knee osteoarthritis, this is effective through the science. So to me, that's really cool is like the level of science on it. Part two, circadian rhythm. There's so much conversation around circadian rhythm, sleep. It's so important we sleep. That's when we heal. So Ayurveda always said, live according to the circadian clock. It's cool to see modern science prove circadian medicine, chronobiology, and then get into teaching us why sleep is so key. And then the third one would be gut health. Ayurveda has been obsessed with gut health for over 5,000 years. We have so many tools for gut health. And now the science is saying, hey, gut microbiome is the key to all health. Gut microbiome is your brain health, it's your immune health. And so I love that because Ayurveda is then like, well, drink our tea, listen to us. We have the spices, we have the tools, we have the lifestyle to honor gut. And so I just think that there's this resurgence of awareness that we have ancient wisdom and tools available to us. And we should all go read books on them, understand them, listen to podcasts, and just incorporate a few things at a time and start to feel better. And then when you feel better, you can do more and then more and then more.
Yes, and about speaking about podcasts, can you share a little bit about your own podcast?
Yes, I have a podcast called the Fusionary Health Podcast, and I made it because in the 9 years that I've owned my supplement company, I've been teaching turmeric and Ayurveda, but I'm obsessed with every aspect of health. So I interview all these amazing doctors who recommend my formulas, doctors all around the country, just to dig into these topics of health that we all need to understand. And also, I want to highlight that there's like Eastern and there's Western, but there's also the entire beautiful middle. And I have such Western doctors who are holistic in their mindsets. I have Eastern doctors who are very scientific and methodical in their approaches. So, what if we each have the perfect practitioner for ourselves who we're meant to partner with to help us on our journey? And so, a lot of people who listen to my podcast find that perfect doctor. And I'm like, yes, yes.
That is amazing. And then for our listeners who are interested in maybe perhaps taking the same quiz that I did and just learning more about what you offer, where can they find you?
So my website is shivanigupta.com, Shivani Gupta.com. And my quiz is there, my cookbook, all my guides and books and stuff are there. And then my supplement company is fusionaryformulas.com, Fusionary. And we made a special code for your listeners, Shine Within. We'll give them 15% off on my website.
That is amazing. Thank you so much. Yes, listeners, I hope you take advantage of this. I will have everything in the show notes for you all, and it's exciting. But lastly, what first step would you actually go ahead and recommend to someone beginning their journey to manage chronic inflammation and improve their health?
You know, I think the first step is understanding that inflammation is the problem, and you can easily cut anti-inflammatory foods out of your diet and see for yourself how effective that is. I always tell people you can cut dairy, sugar, alcohol, red meat, because that's hard to digest for some, not all, and gluten. And so out of those, pick one and cut it for 2 weeks, and you'll see for yourself how you feel less inflamed. And that's your sign that, hey, I'm inflamed. Let me go reach into toolkits. And then my favorite tool, of course, is turmeric because it's going to significantly reduce the inflammation. But diet is another very powerful way to get there as well.
That's so wonderful. Yes, and I did notice when I quit drinking in 2017,
Yeah.
I started losing a lot of weight. It was
Yes.
all the swelling was going down, all the inflammation, and I just
Yes.
so much happier. So this is
And
great advice.
we know that alcohol is horrible for our brains. Like
Oh
it's
yeah.
proven by science right now. There's so many great people in health and wellness talking about it. And so it's like that decision to drink less or not drink is a very powerful one because it'll affect your brain health, your inflammation, your gut health. Every single system will improve by cutting alcohol out of our lives.
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to share with the audience. It's like it's not all about addiction. Addiction, I need to quit completely. Just take those baby steps to reduce it, and you'll see the difference right away.
Yes, absolutely. I've reduced it significantly. So it's like once a week or once every 2 weeks. And that alone has been a game changer for my health.
Totally. Oh, so awesome. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Gupta, Shivani Gupta, for joining me on my show today. I mean, you really helped me, and I'm sure you helped many of our listeners today.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you for having me.
Of course.